Okay, so, and again, for the review session, I just do the new material portion of the review sheet. I did have Morgan asking me questions about the cumulative review sheet because some of those exams that we had multiple of the same hint on it. And essentially what I told her after my first answer or two didn't quite do the trick. If there's only one hint, it's one of those questions that I pulled to put on the exam. So if you want any more details than that, you're going to have to ask me specifically about that hint. Okay, so let's see here. Yep, I'm recording. Hopefully this mic does a good job. There's a little bit of like background noise. All right, so the first one is the nature of emotions. It's kind of like a definition sort of question. Let's see, number 2, physiological effects of activating the autonomic nervous system. You might want to be familiar with some of the things that happen with the fight or flight side of that system. Number 3, cortisol is. Well, you're going to want to know what species has cortisol and what kind of substance, what class of substance is it?
I think I'm on the wrong one.
Are you? What's that?
Just the cheap
Glucocorticoid?
Yeah, is that what it says?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Are you not? You're probably looking at the cumulative part of it.
Okay. Yeah, you're going to have to go down.
I was like, wait.
Yeah, I actually sort of put it sort of in order of like from exam 1 and on through, so.
Okay.
Did you find did you find it?
It starts with nature of emotion.
Yeah.
It's all in the same one, though, right?
It's in one document, but.
Nature of emotion.
Yes, that's the first one on the new material.
Good evening. I hope you're all having a great time and enjoying the cookout food. I just wanted to let you know we have the first name for the first giveaway. So the first person is Colton Partaker, I think is how you pronounce the last name. Colton Partaker, P-A-R-T-A-K-A. If you come to the circulation desk to get your giveaway.
I feel like I would be so embarrassed.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
I would pretend to stop. I'd wait until after.
Okay, where are we at? Number 4, theories of emotion. This is going to give you basically a description of this person and what they're experiencing, and will give you one of the theories and want to know how that theory would explain what's going on with their reaction.
Are you not going to tell us the theory right now?
Well, there's the James Lang,
Yeah,
there's the Cannon-Bard, there's the 2-factor.
Is that it? Or is there...
Those are the 3 ones that are in that section. So, let's see. 5, emotion in non-human animals. Well, when either of those encounter an emotional situation, what kinds of things happen with them that are the same kinds of responses? Let's see. 6, human response found in other mammals. This has something to do with talking about rats and something that rats do. Let's see, number 8, conditioned escape versus avoidance. This is going to describe. Sorry. Where'd I go? I'm skipping one. Conditioned emotional response. It's going to give you a bunch of options and ask you which one is an example of a conditioned emotional response. Okay, now number 8, conditioned escape versus avoidance. It's going to describe a rat doing something and wants to essentially know whether it's demonstrating the escape or the avoidance response. Let's see, number 9, two-factor theory of avoidance learning. This is one of those twofers that I have, so it's got 2 blanks in it. And you might want to know what happens in the first stage and what happens with regard to the avoidance response. Let's see, number 10, two-factor theory of avoidance learning. Know what the problem is with that theory. Let's see, 11, research on learned helplessness. Well, you'll want to know what happens with the dogs that were exposed to the inescapable shock. Let's see, 12 is another one that deals with learned helplessness research. Because this one's going to describe a situation where somebody is presented with some problems to solve. And depending on whether they're given difficult ones to start with or not, will affect whether or not they will decide to try and solve the problems that they're given next. Let's see, 13, memory and mood congruency. This one's going to give several options and ask you which one is an example of that. Let's see, 14, flashbulb memories. Kind of a vague hint. This has to do with how the person perceives these memories. That people tend to have a lot of something with regard to these memories, even though they do become less and less accurate over time. Let's see, 15, loop of brain structures involved in emotions. This is basically going to list off a bunch of these structures and want to know what that loop is called. Let's see, 16, brain and emotion. This one's going to give a bunch of options and want to know which of them is correct, which one is true. Okay, 17, stimulation of the amygdala. Make sure you know what it produces in animals and humans. Let's see, 18, amygdala and conditioned emotional response. You might want to know what happens when you lesion the central nucleus. What happens when you lesion the central nucleus of the amygdala? Let's see. 19, pathways involving the amygdala. This is one of those twofers. Make sure you know what the difference is between that direct and the indirect pathway. Yep. An inaccurate. Yep. Let's see. 20. Amygdala and conditioned emotional response. Which nucleus in the amygdala increases responses after a CS is paired with a fear type US? Let's see. 21, emotion and frontal lobe damage. In terms of the emotional reactions that you see with these individuals, what does this tell us about what the frontal lobe does? Let's see, 22, amygdala and memory. This one is asking about normal, healthy people. And it's going to give a bunch of statements and wants to know which one is true when amygdala is activated. Let's see, 23, hippocampus and fear learning. So how does the hippocampus affect fear learning in the amygdala? Let's see, 24, stress hormones in memory. That's one of those twofer questions. So you might want to know what happens at the time of learning versus at the time of recall. Let's see, 25, types of phobias. Okay, so this is going to describe this person and some reaction that they have when they go on a trip to the zoo and they hit up the reptile house. So see if you can locate what that one's called. What type of phobia that is.
Oh, we need to know, like,
What it's called.
the phobia
What's it called?
of reptiles.
That's what it is talking about. I'm not terribly fond of snakes and
Oh,
those cold-blooded creatures. Very much. Ugh. Huh? Oh, when I go down to visit my daughter in Dallas, that area, they get these little lizards that run around. Goofy little things. At least they've got cats, and the cats are indoor cats, so we don't usually have to worry about them finding their way into the house. Where are we at? 26. Phobia is a classical conditioning. Make sure that you know what that famous study is called that has to do with this. Let's see. 27. PTSD versus phobias. This has to do with what kinds of things trigger the fear. Let's see. 28. Vulnerability to PTSD. This one's going to give you a bunch of options and ask you essentially which one is not. What is social learning? That one's a definition. Observational learning and what is learned. Why is it difficult to predict? Let's see, 31. Bandura's Bowodal study. What did Bandura think was leading to the children learning those aggressive acts? Let's see, 32 steps in copying. Let's put it this way. This question and the next one, which also has the same hint, deal with Bandura's 4 basic steps that he listed. The first question is more of a description of a situation, and then wanting to know what step that is referring to. And then the next one wants to know what all 4 steps are. Let's see. 34. True imitation involves, well, basically know what it involves. I mean, it's there's not much else I can say about that one. Okay, so 35 and 36 deal with copying in humans and chimpanzees. Know what happened? The first one has to do with what happens with opening a box when the actions are modeled by an adult human. And the second one is one of those with two blanks in it. And it has to do with emulating versus true imitation. Let's see. 37, responses associated with emotional contagion. This gives you a bunch of statements and which one wants to know which one's true. And it kind of has to do with the nature of the copied reaction. Hmm?
It's like an unconditional response.
Let's see, 38, observational conditioning. This one is an applied question, so it has to do with a situation that would show that kind of conditioning. Let's see. 39, foundations of language and speech acquisition. Speech acquisition. Why does that always happen? What type of learning do they think is important? Hmm. 40. Has the flexibility to imitate sounds other than humans. And it's not birds that we're talking about here. Just to kind of point you. It's an animal. It's a mammal.
It's dolphins, isn't it?
But it's not a bird.
Oh.
Skylar's got it.
Yeah, I saw that on one of the quizzes.
That's
That's
the
why
one
I
that
knew
kept
that.
screwing up.
I did too. And I was like, oh.
Well, birds aren't mammals though. So there you go. That's what allows you to make that distinction.
Oh, I have
What?
so many attempts on those quizzes. I'm still trying to attempt for them.
The flexibility to imitate sounds. Yeah, I didn't mention mammals in the hint, but I just mentioned it now. All right, y'all better get that one right. Okay. Let's see, 41, vocal learning research. Oh, gee whiz. What's the most studied form? (42) Social transmission of information. This is an applied one, so basically an example that would show this. Let's see, 43, social conformity. Another applied one that basically has a Wants to know what the situation is that shows it. Let's see. 44, theories involving memory for actions and motor representations. Well, we did talk about, there was a hypothesis that deals with this. Let's see, 45 mirror neurons. So it's going to give you a bunch of statements and wants to know which one of them is correct. Let's see, 46 brain structures of songbirds. Which parts are important for controlling production of songs? Production of songs?
Oh, songs?
Songs.
Oh.
It didn't come out. I didn't enunciate very well.
Like this. Like the blue writing on it?
Let's see. 47 to 48 deal with frontal lobe damage. Well, what kind of abilities can be impacted? So that's one of them. And another one talks about studies looking at spontaneous imitation. Studies that deal with spontaneous imitation. And how does that relate to frontal lobe damage? Let's see. 49, autism and copying. What do they tend to have difficulty with? And 50, autism and the brain. It's going to give you a bunch of statements, wants to know which one of them is true with regard to what we see with the way their brains work. Let's see here. And then, what's that?
Did we go over the written questions?
I'm just getting to those.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember.
I was just busy shuffling papers around. Okay, so there's 3 written questions. Procedure for creating a conditioned emotional response. Again, it involves classical conditioning, so be sure to identify the CS, the US, the CR, the UR.
That's gonna kill me. Take the L on that one. For real?
Yeah, classical conditioning is back to haunt you yet again. Okay.
Same.
Well, this is your chance to redeem yourself. How's that?
Yeah. I got less than 24 hours to do it. Literally. I'm gonna be up all night tonight. Yeah. Genuinely. It's bad.
Okay. Let's see. The next one, functions of both direct and indirect neural pathways for emotions. This is where I basically are going to want you to elaborate some about what happens with those different pathways. And yes, I realize there's a multiple choice question that is somewhat similar, but I want you to give me as much detail as you can.
Can we have like an extra credit question where we just like write about our favorite experience working on rats?
That was on the poster. You already did that. Jeez.
Okay, our least favorite experience.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that reminds me. I gotta finish working putting that data onto like a line graph from the maze experiment, so that we can at least you can at least see that before it's all over and done with. So I got sidetracked from finishing up with that project because on Thursday we actually had people come into the lab during the lab section meeting in the afternoon, and they actually came back on Friday and adopted the rats. So
They like have them?
Yep. So that was pretty cool. Okay, last one, true imitation and emulation, behavioral examples of each. So, yeah, it probably will help if you sort of describe to me what true imitation is and what emulation is, but then you're going to have to give me examples.
So, like, can we just use, like, animals then for examples? Like, or...
I mean, the book talked about that study with the chimpanzees, right?
Okay.
That might be something you could use if you wanted to,
Okay.
or if there's some other example that you have that maybe might be easier to remember.
Okay.
So, because true imitation, you do the same motor output to do that. Emulation, you get to the same outcome, but not necessarily the same way.
Do you just want, like, do you want multiple examples or just, like, one example?
At least one example of each, okay? Then I can understand that that's what you're getting at. Okay, so that is the stuff for the new material. Let's see, trying to think. The only other things are what, the quizzes, the chapter quizzes that need to get wrapped up for tomorrow. I'll actually get your poster presentation stuff. At least the scores put up onto Moodle. I was busy trying to like sort of copy over some of what because as I was taking notes while you guys were presenting, it's kind of cryptic the way that I do it, so I was just trying to copy it over onto something that is straightforward and easy to understand. So